Welcome to the Midwest Flyways podcast. I'm your host, Cal Ness. We have Joey Vassallo across the table from me, and we have a very special guest tonight, Graham Greseth of Maxed Out Guides. Graham, thanks for coming on the podcast, dude.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Hell yeah. We had a great time with Graham the last time he was here, so we knew we had to have him back, and I think he's got some stuff he's going to be able to talk about today.
Flooded Corn King.
Flooded Corn King, Graham Greseth.
Yes.
He's the next Tony Vandemore.
Guilty.
We're going to get into it. Carter, can we get some intro music?
Yep.
So, cheers. Cheers, mate. Just gonna.
Oh, right back at you.
All right. Well, hey, by the way, this podcast is brought to you by First Light. And Joey and I are headed to Arkansas, and we're super excited. We can't talk about it. We're excited to try out a couple of new things that they have coming out next year. And if you haven't checked out any of the stuff they have this year, or if you missed the sale, Rugged Wool Kings, go check out First Light, firstlight.com. You're going to love the stuff. Graham, Flooded Corn King, you just showed us some naughty pictures of some Flooded Corn King stuff in Kansas.
Correct.
Can you talk just a little bit about that?
Yeah, so did we talk about this in the last time I was on? I don't remember.
We did talk a little that you were guiding in Kansas,
Okay.
but we didn't talk anything really about your operation.
Right.
Yeah.
So we, I think the last time I was on, I mentioned at how I'm like a 9,000% better duck hunting guide when I'm hunting in flooded corn. I'm really good.
Really good.
Yeah.
Flooded Corn King.
So anyway, we kind of got to a point where we didn't want to rely on wet years for that. And it won't ever be anything that's just what we do until it is, possibly, because we're really good at it. But anyway, so the plan was we started off by flooding I drilled a well and we started flooding the bottom at our family farm that I grew up on, just 2 miles from the lodge. It's the first field off on the west side of Lacaparo Lake. And we put a pump in the first year because we have this natural bottom that used to be a slough.
It's like a depression.
Yeah. Just and in the spring it holds water, and we were like, oh yeah, this is it, money. Well, the first year we did it, we flooded it, and just didn't realize how much of a prick water can be. It
evaporates,
and also just goes where it wants, right?
Yeah.
So you kind of have to tell it where to go. And so the first year it didn't take. So then because then it was just basically sheet water. The year after that, or then that summer, I had a guy go in and do the dirt work, and then to kind of create a bowl, but then the problem was because it was so wet that spring, he couldn't do it until like midsummer, so he couldn't get crops in there. Yeah. So then we just basically had like a big bowl of water in the middle of a cornfield with like a 30-yard buffer of black dirt, and birds didn't love it. So this summer, then once everything drained, it was too wet. My farmer went in there and planted it. So then I just had a guy go in with a food plot planter and planted the corn, and that was in mid-June, mid-July. This is our first year hunting out of it. That was a ton of fun. I had some really good hunts out of there. And then this process on this one in Kansas started so after we were about a year and a half into this one, we started on that one, and just finding the right landowner, finding the right piece. You've got water, and so there's a lot of different variables I learned to it.
Can you like walk us through? So like, what in terms of actually doing this?
Yep.
If someone wanted to do this, is there like certain stuff you have to do to keep the water from just continuously like going into the soil? Do you have to like compact something in there? Like, just the process of it.
So far, I mean, and maybe there's in some areas from what we've learned so far, number one, like in western Minnesota, it's, once you get into the topsoil, that's all clay. Yeah, so that water, unless it's drain tiled out of there, that water isn't going anywhere. As long as you have a way to refill it, right? Like it's eventually going to dry out, but if you have a way to refill it, it's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And we want to do it here in the metro. Actually, we have a few different landowners. We've been talking about doing it, locally in our normal stuff that we guide on, but that ground is just too sandy. If we get a big rainstorm here, like in western Minnesota, if we get a big rainstorm, we're not driving in fields for 5-6 days.
Yeah.
If we get a big rainstorm here with the sand ground, we are literally driving in that field typically the next day, but the day after that for sure, just because
Yeah.
it's so sandy. So
Yeah.
we haven't figured out a way to do it here in the metro yet, but that will come. So the biggest thing is just, I think, is we're having the right soil. There's things that you can do, I think, to help if you do have sandier soil.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a big expense. You know, you
Right.
pretty much just have to make sure you have a constant water supply. If that's going to be the case where you have somebody basically committed to going there and filling that every day.
Yeah.
So that, that may end up being the solution here. But then, so that's the first piece of it. The next piece of it is you want to have ground that, number one is going to hold the water, and it's not going to, go back into the water table, but will also, it's going to collect somewhere. So for our farm, once we got everything done and I realized my first idea wasn't going to work and we needed to do dirt work, it was, almost $20,000 in dirt work.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
That's not a joke.
no, so that's another big factor.
Yeah.
Right. So,
shit.
yeah, it was, in a perfect world, I would have done more research and all those things, but, ultimately we just kind of had an idea and went for it. And,
Yeah.
typically like most ideas, your first idea is never the right one, but you eventually will get there.
Right.
Speak for yourself, but okay.
Well, yeah, sure. You nailed it. Yep. Mr. Perfect. Joey Vasallo. Never made a mistake.
It's true.
Yeah. Anyway. So once you have,
One time. One time is all.
one time. Yeah. Once you have the right ground, that's going to hold the dirt, and then you have you have an area or that's going to hold the water, and then you have an area where it's going to naturally gather. You're probably still going to, from my experience, you're still going to have to do some dirt work.
Yeah.
But that's kind of where, and then you have your water. Like how are we going to get water in there? So for us in Western Minnesota, we drilled a well.
Are there some laws you got to be like pretty careful of with some of this stuff?
From my experience, no. The big thing is anytime you're messing with drain tile in here in Minnesota, that's a big deal. So if you have a piece where you got to mess with drain tile that's connected to other people's drain tile, that's going to be a problem.
It's not like an uncommon farming practice to have water pumping in.
Well, that's more of a watershed district question, and I did call them, but for what I needed it for, because it wasn't, nobody was drinking out of it, right? And
Sure.
it wasn't affecting other people's land.
Yeah.
I didn't have to do anything with the watershed. I
Yeah.
did call through and follow up with that, but there was basically nothing I needed to do there.
Sure.
So now in Kansas, where we're pumping down there, then you're pumping out of the river, and they have permits that you have to have, which we learned. So there's permits that you have to have to be able to pump water out of the the river. So we have one of those now.
Nice.
Totally on the up and up.
Nice.
And so that's the last piece of it. So how are you going to get water? Where's it going to come from? You're going to drill a well. Are you pumping it in from somewhere? And so far and then ducks, right? Because you don't want to spend $30,000 on a flooded corn spot and not have ducks.
Right.
So you want to have it obviously in a good hunting area as well. And that was the thing that I think
so you ordered some up.
we got. Yeah. I got a guy that just, I hit a buzzer, he releases 5, 6
There
at
you
a
go.
time.
Yeah,
They
that's
fly
right.
into the flooded
It's
corn.
perfect,
It's
dude.
awesome. Yeah.
That'd be so sick.
Yeah, it would be sick. Yeah, that is my standard line. Any client that goes on a hunt with us, like if it's slow in the morning, and we get a group that comes in, that's like a 2-3 pack, and then they shoot them like, okay, guys, I'm gonna give her 5 more minutes. I'm gonna tell the farmer to hit the buzzer and let another 3-4 out here in a little bit. So
Do you say that? What do people say?
Oh, they laugh.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
they don't know though.
Right.
Because then like
correct.
5 minutes later, do you like?
I guarantee you, there's somebody in the blind that we've had them is like, oh fuck, that is awesome.
Uncanny.
These
Yeah,
guys
like,
are legit.
Literally 5 minutes later, 3-4 come in, and I'm sure it's happened, and somebody's got to be like, uncanny.
Oh boy. Yeah. So, what I learned this year with our flooded corn at our farm, it took about, so you learn kind of more and more, like, cause everywhere you hunt and you go, there are certain birds, or there's certain fields that hold birds.
I'm just laughing because I want to be like, I learned this year that ducks like corn that's with water.
Yes. Floating. Yes.
100%.
Floating. But you learn that, so like our farm field where I put it in, we, that used to be CRP for years and years and years. And, birds weren't really using it in the fall. So that's kind of how we got to this flooded corn piece. But anyway, it does, if there are fields that birds are not used to going to, or it does take them a while to find them. And it took a lot longer than I thought, because usually in Western Minnesota, if we get a big rain, I mean, Carter can attest to this. He's out in our area. If you get a big rain, I got 10 spots that I can go to, and I know it's going to be just loaded with ducks like the next day.
Yeah.
And so we had this flooded corn at our farm. We were starting to get in a few teal, then a few wood ducks, and so I was just kind of trying to let it build before we hunted. Well, then we got in like the second week of October, we got maybe there was 3 inches of rain one day.
Right.
And one of our spots that's, anytime it's flooded, we're normally in there, we hunt the hell out of it. And the next day after we got that rain that we had sheet water in there were ducks in there.
Yeah.
So it's like they just knew, okay, we got a bunch of water, and there hadn't been a bunch of ducks over there. So it's like all of a sudden it's like we got a bunch of rain, we got to go check out that spot, and there's 1,000 ducks in there, not even 48 hours after. And I'm here with my spot, and I'm like, okay, well, we've got Timmy and Tina the teal, and there's 17 wood ducks, and but it filled, it did, and we were able to get some good shoots out of there. So it was fun.
So, like, obviously those other places dried up eventually, and then they found your shit?
And found it pretty, that stuff dried up pretty quick. And
how close is it in relation to it, you think?
Oh.
Like as a crow flies? Or a mallard?
25 miles.
That's pretty far.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn.
So
it probably isn't
off
the
a different
same birds.
different refuge, different everything. Yep. So.
Damn, that's pretty far.
Yeah. Yeah. But and it's not that our birds had found it. It's just like there was other birds up in that area that were they just knew the birds that were on that refuge roosting. It's like they were in it immediately.
Yeah.
So
that's sick.
Yeah.
I've always heard people, like Joe Heinz has said it a couple times, when a field is first harvested, like you look at a bird and you're like, they can't really smell. Mm-hmm. It's a beak.
Yep.
But they find a fresh cut cornfield like it's nothing.
Yeah.
Even if they weren't flying over it the last couple weeks, they'll just find it.
Yeah.
And you think that's how they found yours, or what? Or they're flying around?
Well, I think for us, that's more of a situation that we have farmers that we work with and that we lease and we pay a lot of money to because they're aggressive. They are not the farmers that are going to wait for their corn to dry because they don't want to pay dryer fees. They want to get that crop out of the field because they got so much to get it. And those fields are naturally out sooner. And again, same deal. Birds, maybe nothing in the area. That corn comes out 2 days later, you've got a 250 honker feed in there. So I just think it is a lot of, whether it's in their DNA or whatever it is, it's just their instinct. It's like they know once it gets to be a certain time of year, this is the area, if they are in this, they start looking in this area, they're going to find food there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy how they do it, though. I mean, like, sometimes it's pretty insane that they find it, like, as fast as they do.
It's pretty wild.
And especially, too, if there's not a lot of birds in the area.
Yep.
And then something changes with the farming, and then immediately it's like there's a big change, too.
Yeah. Like that field the flooded spot that I was telling you about that they found. I mean, we went from literally had not seen a duck over there to 1,000 mallards in there just right now.
Unreal.
Yeah.
How was your, like, October, November?
I can tell you. He beat the shit out of them, dude.
Yeah.
Graham beat the shit out of the ducks.
I mean, I'm asking kind of, rhetorical. Like, I know I watched a little.
Yep.
So just like what happened though? How?
Yeah, we beat the shit out of them.
Yeah.
No, it was a really good year. October, November, I'll be honest, our September was probably the toughest September that we've maybe ever had.
Goose wise?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was really, really tough. But we got into October and, you usually get like duck opener hits. You'll have a couple good days of duck opener and then it's just usually terrible for 10 days. And that's not a big time for us guiding anyway. And then things start to pick back up again. Yeah. So when we hit that early October, like, okay, we've definitely got some new birds in. We had, some cool nights, northwest winds. Okay. We've got some good hunting here for a bit. Then it's going to get tough. Well, it got good and then it just kept staying good. And, it would slow down for a couple days here and there, and then it would get good again. And then we had that big cold snap at the end of October, and we were like, oh God, yes, here we go. This is it. This is the start of it. And that happened, and it came and went, and then we had, what was it, like 75 days in a row in the month of November in which it was above. I mean, that's what it's felt like. You know, it's just like you're looking at the 10-day, and it's
unreal.
50, 55, 60.
60, 65,
Yep.
70.
Yeah. And I just thought, holy shit, we are in for a tough one.
Yeah.
And we were out in, I was out in South Dakota the first, so like right on the back end of that cold snap, and then really beginning of the warm front. I was out in South Dakota for all that, and the guides were in Western Minnesota, and we were beating the fuck out of them in South Dakota. Like, it was wild.
Really?
Wild.
Yeah.
And
Like limited in 6 minutes type of wild?
like 9 clients, 4 guides, and it was all Widgeon and Gadwall.
Oh my God.
Oh, Gaddies, give it up.
But we shot a 13-man limit in like just under 40 minutes.
God.
It was wild.
Don't touch your barrel on that
Pretty
one.
much. It was just nonstop. And we got done with the hunt. We told the clients, it was like, all right, guys, because they're guys from the South, and typically guys from the South just want mallards. They just want greenheads. And I
Right.
was like, oh, God, these guys are going to be frustrated that we shot nothing but Widgeon and Gadwall. And I said, guys, if we want to shoot mallards tomorrow, like, we just probably have to wait a little bit later because the Widgeon and Gaddies are feeding like right out of the gate, and those mallards aren't going to start feeding until probably 10. If they feed in the morning, could be later than that. Might not be till the afternoon. They're like, fuck those mallards. This was awesome. Let's go do this again. And it was. I mean,
I saw your Snapchats. I'm like,
yeah,
dude, there were flocks at 300 plus constantly coming into that
field.
stuff.
in the field. Yeah.
It was like a bean field too, right?
Yeah. In the beans. Yeah.
Ridiculous. You
That
don't
many
see
Gadwall?
that, dude.
It was wild. Just nonstop. Could not keep. I mean, like literally, we were done, and there were 500 Gadwall and Widgeon, like 20 yards out of our decoys, everywhere.
Yeah.
Just sitting there hanging out.
Just gorging themselves.
Yes.
Believable.
Yeah. Yeah. It was pretty crazy. So anyway, we were out there with that, right? And
How many days was that out there? How many days was it like that?
10 days of guiding like that.
Just in a row.
Last couple days, it got when that warm front, the mallards really started. So we lost some of those Gadwall and Widgeon, and then those mallards, like mallards typically do when it gets warm, then they're not feeding as hard and they're just kind of fucky. And so we were
They're
still
playing patty cake.
Yeah, it was. So we were still shooting limits or close to it. It's just we had to sit all day for them.
Taking a little while, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm out there with that, and we are just beating the hell out of them. My guides are in Western Minnesota, and I see what's going on with the weather, and 50 degrees in November is like a death sentence for waterfowlers. And
Of course.
especially when you've got, that's just one day. When you've got 2 weeks of it stacked on top of each other.
Yeah.
I mean,
And then some. Yeah.
everybody gets very emotional in the guides' quarters.
Well,
Like,
it's so hard to pattern them because
Yeah.
they just do whatever they want.
Right.
There's nothing forcing them to go feed or
Yeah.
to go back to water. They're
Yeah.
just, they almost like spread out.
yeah. And even that's if they come out and feed before sundown. That's
Right.
most of the time. It's those birds when it gets to be a warm weather trend like that in a cold weather month, they just shut down their feeding pattern, and they do not come out during shooting light. And
Why do you think that's because of them feeling pressure, or that's just they don't have to?
I think it's a little bit of both. There's a lot of pressure around. They don't really have to feed. They kind of know the deal. It's like, yeah, we'll just hang out here, and then right at sundown or roughly 3 minutes after sundown, then we'll go out and get some food, eat for 20 minutes until it gets pitch black, and then we'll go back to the roost, and we'll do it again tomorrow. So
Yeah.
It's so annoying.
yeah, that is the worst pattern as a guide, because your clients don't even see them.
Right.
Yeah.
Like your clients don't even see the birds that were in that field the day before. And so what I get into a habit of when we get into those patterns, is I always tell my clients, is like, cause we'll be out there and we're still out picking up decoys and stuff. It's like, when you guys get to your truck, before you're going to drive away, just turn back and look at where we're sitting. That's just all I ask, because like we didn't just throw a dart. We're not just here for, just because, like, there's a reason that we're in this spot. And, sometimes that works, sometimes it doesn't, but I have had clients that were like, geez, I thought you guys were kind of full of shit, but I turned around, just like you said, when we were driving out of the field and saw, 3,000 mallards spinning 200 yards away from where you guys are picking up the decoys.
Right.
So,
Right.
Yeah. No. So anyway, we just kept shooting them in November, and it just kept staying good. And I just kept waiting for it to stop and stop and stop. But it just kept on through the entire time. And
so you were out there and it was amazing. Did you think it was, so you knew it was going good here though? I'm assuming you were getting reports or whatever?
Yeah, I talk with the guides every day when I'm out there. So,
So you're assuming it sucks.
I'm thinking it's just going to be the worst. But it's like, well, are we going to be able to shoot them? Like that's the question I asked. Like, do you think we'll kill any? And it doesn't matter what's in there, because I'm just thinking, how much opportunity are we going to get to have a good hunt tomorrow with how those birds are going to feed? And it's like, well, if they come out in time, and they just kept coming out in time. So
it's insane.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
Real quick, I just wanted to talk about one of our sponsors, Graham. It's Outlaw Beer. Is this your first time having one?
It is.
What do you think?
It is fantastic.
You really like it, huh?
I do. Yeah.
Dude, I'm obsessed. I've said it before. I'll say it again. I can't drink Busch, Michelob, any of these other beers anymore after drinking this. It honestly tastes like skunk water.
Yeah. No, this is great.
It hurts my soul a little bit, but this is so good. So
because you were born like Busch Light girl. Oh yeah. Sure.
Yeah, I was a Busch Light girl.
Right.
Big Busch Light girl.
Yep. Well, Joe, when you get older and you start having more babies like you're doing right now, you're going to realize the key to not being hungover when your kids wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning is drinking good beer.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. I just don't drink enough for me to feel hungover.
Oh, sure.
Unless we're doing a podcast.
How old are you now?
I'm 30.
Okay. 38 is the age when 2 beers feels like 20.
Oh, no.
So, yes.
Oh, really?
No. That is coming. Yes.
Oh, shit.
There comes a time in your life where you can sit down and casually drink 2-3 beers with the guys, and you're like, oh, it's no big deal. I feel fine. Then you wake up in the morning and you feel like death. So,
see that? I'm not excited for that.
But I thought if you keep drinking good beer, then you don't have to deal with that.
I know a lot of old guys that drink like 10 to 15 or 20 a day.
Yeah, and they're fucking miserable. Everybody around them hates them because they're so crabby the next day.
Hey, Cal, but how many teeth do they have? That's a real question.
Oh, well,
How much money do they make an hour? That's a good question.
I wouldn't know.
20 beers a day?
Right, well.
You ain't making much. God. But anyway.
If you can drink them between like 6 p.m. and midnight.
I knew a guy that would slam a 12-pack on his way home from work.
That's insane.
Yeah, he would slam a 12-pack on his way home from work, and he wouldn't feel drunk until he got to the door. That was like his philosophy of justifying it.
Is he a waterfall guide?
No.
Oh, okay.
Car salesman.
Oh, gotcha.
Car salesman.
Yeah. But like his justification was, I'm not drunk till I get home. So even if I got pulled over and they blew me, I wouldn't blow anything. And I'm like, wow, you are insane.
So if they blew him on the way home?
Yeah, if they blew him on the way home, he'd get home quicker.
That's called alcoholism.
Right.
Yeah.
And now,
just
saying that now, don't drink and drive.
Right.
It's so stupid.
Thank
but what's cool, I don't know if you saw it, Graham took his wife out and shot her first mallard.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not see that.
All these years.
Yeah.
She finally shot her first
crazy.
mallard.
Well, we always do women's hunts are typically early season, and it just hasn't worked out for her to get out like on an official duck hunt. Like I've gotten her out in western Minnesota at the end of the year a few times, and we just have never. Because we have the kids with, we just hunt the pits, right? Because it's easy, and they can watch cartoons.
And if there's no birds, there's no birds.
Right, exactly. We just go eat breakfast. So she had never shot one before, and she was out deer hunting, and didn't get her deer, and she was pretty bummed. And I just slipped into the flooded corn one morning because the guides had other stuff to hunt, and I was like, well, I'm gonna go shoot some mallards. And
hell yeah,
yeah. So So, because the other awesome piece of it is like where my family farm where I grew up, that house, the flooded corn is like 350 yards out the back door. So.
You don't do $20,000 worth of dirt work if you can't shoot mallards when you want.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Or walk from your old home.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So it's literally like 150 yards from where I shot my first goose ever. So it is like literally in our backyard on our property. And, so I just called her up and she was all bummed she didn't shoot her deer. And I said, well, hey, just, grab your shit and grab your gun. Or I didn't even need your gun. I said, I have a gun. I said, I just shot my limit. I'm done. And she's like, well, I don't want to sit there with clients. And I was like, no, it's fine. There's no clients out here. It's just me. So she came out and like sat down and, She wasn't there for 90 seconds before we had a greenhead backpedaling like right in front of her. And she's still not super confident in her shooting, so like she gets into her head a little bit with it. And
oh, totally.
And it was a windy day and it was sunny and the sun was at her back and the wind was blowing the corn. And I said, you don't have to rush this. When I say kill him, just stand up, shoulder your gun, do it slowly, put the bead on the bird and squeeze the trigger. And so that first one came in and was backpedaling at probably 15 yards. And I said, okay, honey, kill it. And she stood up, did everything right and shot and dumped her first one. And 20 minutes later, she had her next one. And then she missed her next two. And then finished out our limit. So
that's unreal, man.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Did she love it?
She, just was like the coolest thing in the world. Yeah. And it was so.
She it better than geese?
I think she likes, she really likes layout blind hunting. So she thinks that's really cool, but she really liked how with mallards, like with geese, it's like, okay, guys, here they're coming. You see them, you hear them way off in the distance. What she liked about the mallards is like they were just there,
right?
And so, and there wasn't much calling for me because the ones that were in there were just, they were so comfortable. There was probably 200 in there at the time.
Yeah.
And they're just so comfortable. They are, picking up off the lake. There's no doubt in their mind where they're going.
Love that.
12 decoys, no spinners, and they are just in it right in front of you. So yeah, she thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What is it about ducks that is so, it's like mystical?
Yeah.
It's almost like mythic of where they just come out of nowhere.
They are just on top of you. And
God, I love that.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's especially true, you don't get that as much in field situations. It's more when you're hunting water. When you're hunting water, then all of a sudden it's
they're just out of nowhere.
They're right there on you.
Like that 10 o'clock range.
Yep.
There's just a 40 pack.
Yep.
Muscle manning in.
Yeah.
It's like, where did you even come from?
Yeah.
The stratosphere.
Right.
Just drop straight down doing this, where they're losing as much altitude as they can. No circling, just a vertical drop.
In.
It's always when you're just like sitting there too and nothing's really happened.
Yep.
And you just fucking off.
Starting to zone off.
Out of nowhere,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So we probably the most fun flock we had in there this year, and I had never experienced this before, I don't think ever. It was one of the first times we were hunting it. We're sitting out looking over the lake, and one of my guides is like, oh, I think there's a flock of ducks getting up. So they were like literally sitting on the shore of Lac Parle. They flew over, and it was a flock. There was probably 30 in it. And, typically with 30 mallards on the water, they are going to, they're going to work you. It's not even as comfortable as they are. 30 aren't, it's not like they're in a field. 30 aren't going to just pile right into there.
Right.
And so I was like, okay, guys, everybody get down. So we're on our duck calls, and it's me and Drake. And like, and all of a sudden I've got my head down, and I'm not even watching them at the time because I'm expecting them to kind of go out, go around, go on the backside, like they typically do, and then it'll get serious. Well, all of a sudden I hear my guy Drake go, "Oh, Jesus." And so I look up, and this 30 pack is like sucking the air out of the sky and is just piling into the decoys. It's like, oh boy, guys, get ready. So they went from here to all 30 of them in the hole in about like 2.5 seconds. I was like, all right, guys, kill them. And then just as I'm shooting, I was like, those are not mallards. Like, kill them, boys. So he stood up, and the bottom just drops out of this flock, right? It is just carnage and chaos because they are so tight and they are so close.
Yeah.
Right.
I was just like, what? Oh, shovelers.
Just a pile of them.
Just a pile of shovelers that absolutely gave it up in the most epic fashion I've ever seen on water.
Yeah.
Did you see a lot of like mature looking Drake spoonies this year?
No.
Dude, every one I shot this year, this close to a mounter.
Really?
That's
they still had
actually true, yeah.
They actually had a little bit of white going up its green up in the back. Other than that, it would have been perfect.
Yeah.
Like such a stark white belly to chestnut brown to green.
Yep.
Oh.
If I would have shot one of those that day, I would have definitely mounted it.
Because it was just so epic, that flock.
Yeah, it was just so amazing. Yeah.
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 Dude, they give it up.
Oh, it's great.
Spoonies give it
up.
up.
Just like Gadwall and Widgeon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. 100%.
Guide's best friend. Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. Dude, Gadwall, it's weird.
Yeah.
Like weird how often. It's just, and that's another bird too that will just come out of nowhere. That's like for sure like a lake bird, like at 10 o'clock out of nowhere. There's like 4 or 5 gadwall just in your face.
Yep.
Landing in the decoys.
No hesitation every time.
Yeah, it's the best.
Dude, it actually is the best.
Yeah, they saved our ass every day in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Do you guys guide on water at all other than just like flooded stuff?
We do in Kansas quite a bit.
Okay.
Not so much in western Minnesota. It's a different, I don't know. It's hard to guide clients on the
It's not
sloughs
consistent.
No, it's tough. It's tough. And it's just so hard to hide everybody. And, you tell a client like, okay, well, this is how we're concealing you. We're in these cattails and, we got water up to our knees. So let's just try to be easy on your surroundings. And then you walk down and talk to 3 more people. When you come back to him, it's like he's got a hedge trimmer out and has just wiped out every bit of cover around him.
We were hunting in North Dakota and we were getting our ass kicked. So we decided to hunt some water and everyone's like, where should we sit? Where should we sit? And we found this little spot of cattails and they were thick. Like it was good cattails. And I'm like, okay, let's go here. I was like, but here's what we have to remember here, because there were 4 of us.
4, yeah.
We all come out of the cattails in the same spot.
Yeah.
Because have you noticed when you're hunting people in cattails, people just go straight out from where they are. Cover is gone.
Yeah.
Instantly gone.
Yeah.
Just drives me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. But so in Minnesota we don't a lot. Kansas we do a ton. And
it's
that's
cattle ponds though, right?
Cattle ponds.
Yeah.
Yeah. Pasture ponds, cattle ponds, watershed ponds. I mean,
You doing A-frames on the side of those?
Typically, a lot of my guys like to run layout still, but when I'm trying, typically more A-frames if we can. But it's just a different deal down there. Like those ducks come back to cattle ponds down there the way mallards come back to fields. It's not just onesie twosie. It's big groups, and they are just in it. Are
they just chilling in there? Like, what's the?
Well, I don't know what they're eating in there,
right?
But they want to get after. I'm sure there's smartweed and millet, and I'm sure there's some of that. But and it could just be grass regrowth. Like once Kansas gets wet again, because Kansas has been so dry the last 3 years now, it's really bad down there this year. But once it gets wet again down there, all of those ponds that are dry, it's going to be unbelievable.
Yeah, stupid.
It is going to be lights out down there because all of those ponds are full of fresh, new, lush vegetation. We just don't have any water. So as soon as we get water down there, it's going to get crazy.
What's the most common vegetation down there? Like what are they eating out of those?
In the water spots?
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's just smartweed.
Smartweed.
Yeah.
And smartweed is red, right?
Well, no, then that's not smartweed. I guess what am I thinking? I'm thinking of the stuff that is
foxtail, coontail.
It's the thin little pods right up on top. Little balls.
Carter,
Joey,
you're
my
what that
ball
is?
expert.
Yeah, I'm a big ball guy.
Yeah.
Cup the balls. So, what is that, Carter?
I don't know.
You should know that.
I don't.
You got glasses on. You should know that. Come on.
I'll try to find it.
Please. Thank you.
So I thought that's what smartweed was, but if it's not, then I'm wrong. But
I'm asking because I'm not 100% sure.
Well, yeah, and but it would make sense because in South Dakota we see a lot of the red stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Wherever that red stuff is, ducks
lights out,
crazy,
yeah.
Wild. Yeah, they love it. Yeah,
because Minnesota just doesn't have that climate, and I don't think it's natural to hear.
I don't know. We see it in South Dakota a lot where we guide. And we don't see that red stuff as much down in Kansas. But yeah, in South Dakota, wherever that red grass is, it is full of mallards.
Yeah.
Every time.
Well, and the Corn King, he doesn't care that much. I
Yeah.
mean, he's more into the corn.
Yeah.
So this is actually like outside of the podcast, like this is a good question for you.
Yep.
So I'm trying to buy a home with land and whatever, and I'm thinking like, okay, I want a field or I want a pond.
Yep.
Like something that I could kill ducks out of, and geese, of course, but I'm seeing more like timber. And so I'm like, okay, how much money would it be to create my own flooded timber spot, essentially, in Minnesota? I'd have to have a good flight line.
Yep.
And
you have to have the right producing trees.
Yeah, I have to have oak trees.
Yeah.
But also at the same time, I don't really think it would matter if I were to plant some sort of millet or smartweed or
like
rice. Yeah, like a cover crop essentially in the pond, because that's what they do in Arkansas too. They put rice in their duck holes in the timber. And so how much money do you think that would cost for me to do that?
Well, I think the bigger thing
to create it.
I mean, well, you got to clear the trees too, because you're
Right.
definitely gonna have some
Which
some
I
trees
can
to do that.
I can clear trees,
Right.
You know, but like outside of me doing physical labor,
Yep. I think that would be a pretty significant investment. I mean, if you can do a lot of it yourself, then that's good. I think the biggest challenge would be, like I was talking about at our farm and in Kansas, is just getting those ducks to know that it's there,
right?
and learning that it's there, because that's going to be the biggest challenge.
Well, and pumping water.
Right.
Yep.
And then keeping water there.
Because my thought process on it was kind of like, you probably won't have enough time to plant a cover crop the first year, right? And so the first year you go in there, you make sure that there's water, it's clear.
Yep.
Make sure that birds can find it.
Yep.
And you just load that shit up with corn.
Yep.
Load it up with corn, don't hunt it.
Yep.
You know, that entire first year, just let birds find it. Let them come there, congregate on it. Second year, make sure all that corn's gone so you're not baiting.
Mm-hmm.
And then plant
cover.
a good cover crop and kind of go from there.
Yep.
That's kind of where my mind is.
I mean, in theory, it makes sense.
Yeah.
You know, but it's just like anything, Joe. It's like trailer blinds and flooded corn and all those different things. Like, yeah, you're probably, your first idea is not going to be your best one, but if you stay after it, you'll eventually get to the point. I don't know how much money it's going to cost you, but
right.
You know, you can make more money, right?
Mm-hmm. True.
You know, you'll eventually get to the point where you nail it, and then it's going to be awesome.
Right.
Yeah.
I think the bigger question for me that like strikes a chord when you're asking that stuff is like, he's like throwing corn in there and letting those birds find it. Like how theoretically, like how possible, you know, is
They can
it to
see
just
yellow.
have them come back immediately the next year and to find it easily? And I don't know. And I know.
I know. It's like you have to hit your resident population, though. So if I were to make like let's say it was 10 acres of timber and I opened up an acre of trees, that's a lot.
It's a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot. And you open that thing up and you literally pile that thing full of corn, they're going to find it. Like aerially. They're going to find it because it's just going to be yellow. But I think you have to do it early enough in the season so that you have the resident birds that were breeded there and will be coming back there. Because, I mean, the migration thing, I think, is going to take a while.
Yeah.
You know?
Why don't you just buy Pete's place?
What's that?
You just buy Pete's place, then it's all done.
True.
Yeah.
It's true.
Shit. Oh, that
All you have
place
to do
so
is collect
sick.
a few $1 million and no big deal.
Right. No, I was just wondering because I'm like, I'm not going to find something perfect for me.
Yeah.
Especially not right now with how the market is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so how can I make it into something like that?
Going in timber would be nerve-wracking. That would be one that would make me nervous. Like, is this one going to pan out?
That's got to be one where it's like me and you can just go in there and screw off and just figure out if it's going to work. Like, it's not like you're banking on it.
Oh, no.
Just like,
Like, I wouldn't be running clients out of it probably.
Yeah,
You
right,
know, so I'm going to put in as little financial as I can.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm not going to make the money back.
Right.
Even when I sell the home, it's not going to make shit.
Well, worst case scenario, you'd shoot wood ducks out of there eventually.
True.
Worst case.
Yeah.
Which I wouldn't hate.
No. Good wood duck shoot.
Great
man.
little take a Z's out.
Just go in there in the morning for an hour, 20
Yeah.
minutes, shoot 3 wood ducks, get out.
Yeah.
drive an ATV to a fucking garage.
Right.
Yeah. Everybody in the morning, you know, if we tell clients that, you know, we've got wood ducks in the morning, a lot of them are like, oh, God, wood ducks, huh? And it's like, yeah, it's the best hunt for tomorrow. Then you go in and shoot them, and everybody is like high-fiving, having the time of their lives. Like, oh, man, this is awesome. You know, they just keep coming. And then 20 minutes later, it's done, but you've already shot your limit. So
Really quick before we get back into this, I just wanted to mention another one of our sponsors, Onyx Hunt. I know obviously you use Onyx, and I don't know anyone who really doesn't. But they have a ton of new features that have come out on it. So if you guys haven't checked those out, the recent imagery, super cool. Go on your app and check out. You can literally watch a video on Onyx's YouTube exactly how it works, but it's pretty insane. So go check that out. Obviously, if you're not utilizing like the the crop layers, super helpful, especially if you're going to areas that you haven't necessarily hunted, trying to figure out if there's a lot of the right crops there, i.e. Corn King. So use Onyx, and you can use our discount code MWF20 for 20% off your Onyx memberships, Elite or State. All right. So my next question for you is, in terms of being a guide, what's a good tip?
So in our welcome email, we
Dude, I need like
the
an
welcome
answer. This
email?
is just like, it's one of those things that like you don't get a great answer or a straight answer.
Yep.
And it's just, what is a good tip? Like what's being a dick?
So for 3 guides so we detail this in our welcome email because people ask it to me all the time.
Yeah.
And what I tell in our welcome email, basically what it says is if there's 3 or 4 guides in your hunting group, each one of them should walk away from the end of their 3 days hunting with you from anywhere from $200 a piece to $500 a piece.
Okay.
So that's typically where our guides are at. So if there's 3 guides in a group, that group is getting tipped anywhere from $600, and I think probably the highest that we've ever had was like $3,000.
Sure. And how many guys are hunting in that group then?
Typically like 7 to 8.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
So it's easier if you're in a group where it's like your buddies, because then you guys can talk. It's like, hey, let's each pitch in $150 and call it a day.
Yeah.
A little bit tougher if you're in a mixed group where it's just the 2 of you hunting with another 2 guys and another 2 guys that you're kind of mixed mash together. But,
and that's why I'm asking. So like, let's just say theoretically, because a lot of guys will go out on their own.
Yep.
So if you go out and it's like, let's say, and I guess there's 2 scenarios, right?
Yep.
So let's look at it from a perspective of I go out, one dude, and I'm going to drive to Fergus, hunt one day,
Yep.
and then come home. You go out with a guide. If I'm by myself, and the fee for the day is $150.
Yep.
What's a good tip?
Well,
$50.
price point for
$100.
$50 probably.
$50. So if I give him $200 and it was supposed to be $150,
Yep.
and I hunted one morning and I'm out,
and everybody does that, then they're fine.
okay.
Yep. But then the difference is like if you go on a 3-day hunt, it's $1,500. That's then I'd say you're looking at a minimum of, a minimum $100 bill a day.
So why wouldn't you just include it in the price? That's my question.
Well, because I want the guides to get that in cash and not have to go through me.
Yeah,
Because
essentially,
then they
why would
make
you pay
more.
taxes on it?
Right. I don't want them to have to, they've worked hard, they've earned that tip. I don't want them to lose I don't want to have to take, because if I get it, then they're just going to make less on it.
So essentially, if you're going in a decent sized group to like a lodge where you're getting meals and stuff paid for, you should expect anywhere from like $70 to $100 a day per guy.
I would say, I'd say right around there. Yeah.
Yeah. Because if you're in a group of 8, it's essentially like what, $600 a day.
Yep. Well, so group of eight walking out at the end. So if you're looking at kind of our ratio, what we tell them, so you're looking anywhere from, if those 3 guides leave, from anywhere from like 600 to split between the 3 of them to 1,200. I'd say that's the range. So
so $1,000 would be like if you went for 3 days with a big group and you guys as a group tipped $1,000 to 3 guides. That's good.
Yeah,
that's decent.
Yeah, I mean, none of
respectable.
My guy. Yeah, I think $200 is kind of the $200 for a 3-day hunt is kind of the floor for my guides. That's where they're like, it's not as good as it could have been.
Okay,
but
so
I've
that
had
actually
worse.
kind of breaks back down to like $50 a day.
Yeah,
per guy.
Yep. But depending on the group, I'll be like, I think most guide services do this, like, because I always ask my guides, like, how do they take care of you? And if we have a group that doesn't tip well, I am not going to be super aggressive about getting them back in there.
Yeah.
So,
well, especially for a guy like, in your situation, you got probably a pretty decent set of books. You don't have to have those people back. But
right.
Yeah.
You want to be. I'll put it this way. I'm not going to chase them down to come hunt with us, but if we have some spots to fill
and they call
and they reach out, I'll still pick up the phone and answer.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. But they're definitely not getting the, hey, like this date opened up in this state
and it's good.
You guys should take it. You guys should take this one next year. They don't get that email.
Yeah. It's just something of, you hear so many different answers.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to figure out in your head. I mean, I don't want to be a dick.
Yep.
But I also have no idea what's realistic. And it's funny because, I work for a company building homes.
Yep.
And so it's the same thing. Like, people get a quote from us. Mm-hmm. And when you meet with them, you're like, well, what's your budget? And they're like, well, we don't really know.
Yeah.
And then they tell you they want, a 4,000 square foot house with marble floors. And then you give them a quote for like $1 million. And they're like, well, our budget's $350.
Right.
And you're like, well, that's why we asked.
Right. Yeah.
Could have told you not to get the marble floors.
Saved us both some time. Yeah.
But I have no idea when it comes to hunting. It's just like such a...
I think the biggest thing for tipping, and it's one things that that drives us, I guess, or it drives me crazy, and I'd say it drives a lot of the guides crazy, is when guys say things like, "Oh, if you get us on a good one, we're really going to take care of you."
Oh yeah.
We burn
Classic.
them out, man. We're really going to take care of you, and that's such a bunch of bullshit. And honestly, if you're a client that's going out with a guide service, that's the last thing you should want your guide to be motivated by. Like, you should want your guide to be motivated by taking every group out, putting them on their best hunt every single day based on what the conditions of Mother Nature have to offer.
Yeah.
And, so our guys, when they hear that, it is just in one ear, out the other.
Oh, it's so annoying, dude. It's so annoying.
Nothing. It means nothing. And and you shouldn't want that to mean something. Like, because that gives you the impression that, like, hey, if you don't, like, we're here to do a good job for you every day, no matter what. You shouldn't want a guide that's like, well, how much are you going to tip us at the end? We'll let you know which spot you put you on.
No shit.
Right.
That you should never want that.
Because it's like, what would be the difference? You telling them that, now you think that for some reason you're getting a better field?
Right. I swear, that's what people think.
Well, it's like in construction too. People were like, "What do you mean you can't get to it for 2 weeks? What if I gave you an extra $500?" It's like, hey, bud, that's actually not how this works by any means.
Right.
Like,
hey,
when
dude,
I told you that I can't do it, it's not because I don't like you. It's because I'm telling you what my schedule is.
Hey man, your contract's for $60,000. So the $500 that I already can't get here for, I can't come.
Yeah. Is that $500 going to buy you an extra 74 hours in a day?
I bet you it's going to buy me more of an asshole customer.
Right.
For sure.
Exactly.
For sure. As soon as you take that money, that's bribe money, dude.
Well, and
like you're
before I knew Heinz super well, I think is when he first started going to Fergus and guiding.
Mm-hmm.
I had a buddy in town. He had just got back from the Marine Corps, and so I called him, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna bring my buddy up there. He just got back from the Marine Corps, whatever." He goes, "Oh, he's half off." I was like, "Oh, cool." Like, I barely knew Joe.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Yep, it'll be $150 a day or whatever, and then your buddy's gonna pay $75 for the day." I was like, "Cool." And go up there. We shot one goose, and I could see how much work that they put into the area. And it's not that we didn't see any birds. We got lunch lined all day.
Yep.
And we sat out there all day.
Yep.
And they sat out there all day. And I was like, God, I got to give Joe like $100 minimum.
Yep.
And so I think I had like $110 in my wallet. And he's like, I don't want it. And he still took it because I told him to.
Right.
But it was just like, I felt like, you sat out here all day. You probably knew we weren't going to kill birds, yet you still sat out here. Here you go.
Yeah.
Well,
and that is that's the other piece for the guides that really sucks for clients when they say shit like that. Like, "Oh, put us on a good one. We're really going to take care of you." Because the work for us is the same on the good ones and the bad ones.
Right.
100%.
It's all the same. It's not like on the good days we worked harder that day. Like, it's just what that, conditions, whatever it was that led to that day being good. It was the exact same plan and process that we did on the day before when we didn't shoot, we shot 5.
Still setting the trailer, still
setting
putting
the
decoys,
talking
still,
to the landowner,
still scouting on the
setting
road,
the trap,
still driving the truck. Yeah.
Yeah. It's all the same stuff. So that's why we appreciate, guys, Joe, when people do stuff like that, is when we have a group that recognizes, like, hey, we maybe didn't have the best 3 days, but man, these guys worked their ass off. Like, those are the clients that we love to have back.
Yeah.
And those are the clients that, not that we want it more for some than others, but you do sometimes. Like, it's like, man, these guys took care of my guides last time, and
a little more pressure.
They came back. It's like, we just want it for them.
You're still
so
doing
bad.
the same thing, but you're thinking like, I really want these guys. Like, and of course you want all your clients to have a great hunt, but it's the same thing when, you have a buddy that is always there for you when you need them, when you call, and then they call you for a favor. It's not that you wouldn't do that favor for your other buddies. It's just you want to help that guy a little bit faster.
Yep. True story. Yep.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
What is one thing this year? Because you always have 1 to 5. What was one hilarious story you have from this year?
Oh, boy.
We'll also take any haunting stories.
I don't have any haunting. Well, no, I take that back. I'll go with a haunting story.
All right.
Okay. So I told you about our guide house in Kansas last time.
The rocking chair?
Yep, rocking chair.
Fuck that.
So
and the talking.
Yeah, and the talking. Yep. And so our family farm that I grew up on, like, a few of my guides also think that it's haunted, along with our lodge manager, Ashley. She also swears up and down like our family farmhouse is haunted. Good. So my sister Sue was home this winter or this fall, and she was, just kind of home for a couple of weeks and just hanging out. And she knew all this, like I've told her, because my guide Garrett was down in the basement one time, and he was down there doing something, and he heard somebody walking across the floor up top, so he yelled out, "Hello!" And he heard somebody, like walk in down the hallway to the back bedroom, and then walk into the bathroom, and then walk out into the kitchen. So he kept yelling, and nobody responded to him, and then he walked up there, and there was nobody there. So that's kind of how this whole thing started. Well, so my sister Sue's home, and she sends me a text, and she's like, do you have a minute to talk? And I was running a hunt. I was like, well, I can't right now. Is it an emergency? She's like, no, just call me when you're done. So it was the day she was like leaving to go home. And, she's like, I know all your guides think that the house is haunted. And she said, I was getting ready to leave, and I was upstairs. And she said, there's like 3 mason jars of coins that were on the windowsill in the basement that have been sitting there for 20 years. She's like, I said, yeah. And she said, well, I was sitting upstairs, and it was just me. And all of a sudden I heard this huge crash, and then another one, and then another one. And then I was like, what in the fuck was that? So she's like, I got all freaked out, but then I was like, well, I know nobody's here. So I ran down there, and all 3 mason jars had fallen off the ledge and were shattered on the concrete floor.
And there's no way they could have fallen naturally.
They've been sitting there. Maybe since I was a kid, I might have put those mason jars full of coins there. And they have just been sitting on that ledge for 20 years. And then all of a sudden, my sister.
So you have 2 real estate properties that are currently haunted?
Well, I own one, and we're just renting the other. But yes,
dude.
Yeah.
No, thank you.
Yeah. So
is that the only haunting occasion at that place?
That's it. Happened this year.
Wild.
Yeah. So she's like, well, I was just trying to think, if I was running the washer and dryer. But she's like, I just looked at them not that long ago and noticed them, and they weren't anywhere close to the edge. So she's like, that didn't make any sense. God. That they had just like.
Was there dust? Is there dust rings around them at all?
That I don't
could
know.
you have seen any dust that had been like something slid them?
That I don't know.
That'd be.
Look. Yeah.
That's bad.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah. So no, as far as like funny stories from the year, the one I told last time, that one's a pretty tough one to top. I can't pull any off the top of mine. Do you have
any weird stories this year? Any weird things that happened?
This year has been, a pretty normal, like we haven't really had any terrible clients. We haven't really had, just that brutal stretch of hunting. Like it has been an oddly normal year, if you can say that about hunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nothing out of the ordinary.
Just been consistent enough. Probably the only thing that's out of the ordinary is how consistent it was, how good the hunting was in November. That's probably the only thing that was out of the ordinary this season.
Maybe you can help me out then, because I got my ass kicked.
Yeah.
Hard.
Yeah.
It's probably the worst year in 12 years.
Yeah.
For me, ducks and geese.
Yep.
Usually it's like one is better than the other. Mm-hmm. One's actually kind of consistent. Both were very consistent on the bad bird days.
Yeah.
0 patterns. They weren't leaving in the morning, like on a day that they should leave.
Yep.
They weren't going to feed on days that they should feed.
Yep.
There's just like a bunch of weird stuff. And then all their flight lines changed up this year.
Yeah.
For my area.
Okay.
And I've been hunting this area very hard for 8 years.
Are you talking Metro or Western Minnesota?
Right where we're at.
Oh, okay.
Yep. And why is that? Because I was going to ask you, but you've had an unbelievable year.
Yeah.
And so what do you normally do on those days?
Well, we have to hunt no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
Like we have to hunt. So when you're asking that question, like, are you saying like, what would you do differently, or what would you do? Or
like would you just wait for stuff to build, or would you just do something completely out of the box and something different?
Well, the hard thing is when they get in those types of patterns is they become unhuntable because you just don't even most of the time have an opportunity to even kill them.
Right.
Like that's what's, and there's really there's not much out of the box that you can do at that point. I think that the thing that's tougher around here is just because of the metro area and the pressure and the congestion and all those different things. I think that affects birds feeding patterns even more because, in the metro, I just know, like, I can just look at the weather and just know it's like, oh, we're going to be offering people half price hunts today for, to come back because it's going to be, we're just not going to shoot anything today. And it doesn't matter how many birds were in the field. I just know that because if the weather's are at certain conditions here, you just know that they're going to go to the city park and feed, and you just literally are not going to have a chance to kill them that day. But as far as, I think part of the reason why I think we had so much success in Western Minnesota this year is because, we did have a fantastic duck hatch this year. Mm-hmm. And there was just a lot of young dumb birds around. And I don't think people probably, I think people pay attention to the juvie hatch a lot. I don't know if people pay as much. I mean, I always look at it and see it, but I don't always use that as a projection of how our season is going to be. After this year, I will probably do that a lot. I will probably pay more attention to that because that's kind of what I am attaching a lot of because it didn't make any sense. I've done this long enough to know that if we have a weather stretch like that, it is going to be terrible. Right. But it wasn't. And, Carter can probably pull it up. I think our duck hatch numbers were up like 80% this year. Is that
80?
It was something wild. It was a huge spike.
Where the fuck were they?
It was a huge number. Well, I'm guessing a lot of them didn't get to us.
Yeah. Well, not a lot came here. Well, I can promise you that.
Well, and you are, where we hunt in the metro, and I don't know what it's like where we're at in this area, but where we hunt in the metro, it doesn't matter for ducks. I don't even, I tell our clients we are, we want to come to the metro and shoot ducks. It's like, well, if you want to come to shoot ducks, you got to come to our lodge in Western Minnesota because we just pretty much exclusively kill giant Canada geese in the metro. But with the exception of when it gets late and everything freezes up and everything pushes up into the Mississippi, which typically happens the week of Thanksgiving now.
Yep.
Then we will get on a few good duck shoots before our season ends, but we never had that this year.
Right.
We never ever got, we had that little bit in October, but
they were gone same day.
Yeah. So that didn't really factor in. And then it was just so warm that there was just no reason for them to go to the Mississippi River. Yeah. They just were on their ponds. So we didn't even I guided, I helped with the group here. We had Thanksgiving weekend where we hunt. We have a bunch of land right off the Mississippi. We usually beat the hell out of greenheads, and we did not see one until last weekend. And, it had gotten a little bit colder then after Thanksgiving, and some stuff started to freeze up and things started to push into the Mississippi. And then last weekend we're guiding hunts in the metro, and we've got 2,000 mallards in the field.
Do you think it's the birds in the area losing their small water and then they have to go to the Mississippi, or do you think it's more birds migrating in and coming into the Mississippi?
I think it's probably a mixture of both. I think that small water freezing up, it plays a huge part in it, but then congregating. But then all of a sudden now you're getting a push of birds in from the north as well, and you've got massive concentrations of birds, which then tells, obviously safety and food. There's all kinds of good things. So that was this area. That
was another question. Do you think when the river piles up, or when we get mallards, our big groups of ducks is when shit starts freezing up? Mm-hmm. It's colder in Canada. Mm-hmm. I never thought that because there's already so many resident ducks that have been in the area for a long time, they're sitting on the river, the birds migrating are seeing that and going, you think that's a big factor in that?
Well, that's why, it's Fergus Falls. Fergus Falls, everything goes into town, then everything that starts showing, they start showing up from the north when they see 50,000 birds on the ground.
Right.
They're in it.
Yeah.
Wow. Am I dumb that I never came to that conclusion? That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I just thought maybe it's cold. Birds are pushing in, huge body of water. That's where they're going.
Yeah. I would love it if that was that way in Lac qui Parle, but lately, Lac qui Parle, it literally takes we have to have everything freeze up before birds really start to use that. And then for us, the timing on lac qui parle becomes how late or how long is this water going to stay open for these birds that are local, that are now congregating here to now be able to track in those northern migrators.
Yeah.
Wow, I feel so stupid. That makes so much sense.
Well, I feel dumb too. If it makes you feel any better, I know it probably won't.
Well, I just, it was more of that like mythical thing where it's like, oh, they come here.
Yeah.
Like when it's cold, this is a staging area for them.
Yeah.
Well, I thought maybe it was like a heritage, traditional, instinctual thing, but it's even more instinctual than that. Oh, there's a lot. I'm going to go down there.
Yeah.
God. Wow.
Kind of crazy, man.
Yeah, I just wish it would get colder in Minnesota faster then. You know, because it just, we've talked about it so many times on the podcast. It's probably stupid at this point, but we don't have the duck numbers that we used to because it's warmer.
Right.
And so, I don't know. Like 3 years,
warmer and
it kinda
habitat,
sucked.
and there's, it's never just one answer. There's a lot of different variables to that. But yeah, I mean, this year, coming off of last year, which was a colder November than we had the previous two.
Right.
I was kind of expecting, but I think they said this year is also which is
El Nino.
It's an El Nino.
Yep.
And 2 and 3 years ago, we had one of those, and Kansas was pretty tough in early December because we just didn't. It was 20 degrees, 15 degrees is cold enough to get some movement. If you want those birds, you need the thermometer to bottom out. Like you got to be single digits for a long time, and you've got to have like 8 to 10 inches of snow.
Yeah.
And we haven't had either of those this year.
Right.
And those, like when that combination of two, like that's when okay, get ready because it's going to be on. But Winnipeg, because starting at the end of October, I start watching, I watch our weather report, then I watch Winnipeg's weather report, and I'll watch Devil's Lake, and then I'll watch, Kansas and South Dakota where we hunt. So I'll just try and check in on them, a couple times a week to see what's going on. And Winnipeg, for the most part this fall, was within 5 degrees of where we were at in western Minnesota.
Not good.
No,
Not good.
Not good. Yeah. So,
I was talking to Loeffler today, and it was only 4 degrees colder in Thief today. That's nothing, and they have no snow on the ground.
Yeah.
So
crazy.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, let me do an ad here real quick, Graham. Do you guys use duck straps?
We do.
Have you, what do you use, the old metal buckles, or do you use on the leg straps?
Whatever my guides haven't lost. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Dude, we're this podcast is sponsored by R.W. Coolidge, and he makes the most badass leather duck straps. Seriously.
Okay. It'd be one, for you to have.
Yep.
And
pass down
take
your
out,
kids.
with your wife or your
Yep.
kids or whatever, not a for the guides maybe situation. But
and then you're hunting flooded corn, right? So
Right.
you don't want to lay your ducks in the water next
Right.
to you.
Yep.
And so you get like a little high and dry pole and a strap.
Yep.
And one, the ducks look better at the end of the day.
Takes
and then two,
badass
they're not waterlogged.
Yeah.
I hate cleaning waterlogged ducks.
Yeah.
And I love hunting water, sloughs,
Yeah.
and all that, especially by myself. It's just like easy walk in, throw a dozen decoys, walk back out.
Yep.
And then you just hang your ducks on the strap. It's just incredible.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like it.
go to rwcoolidge.com.
Okay.
Last question I have for you.
Yeah.
What's the rest of your year look like? And then when do you take a break? When do you chill?
So we'll guide. This will be a big stretch for us through December, and then we have a stretch that we do after Christmas and New Year. And then I just found out, actually, Kansas extended their early zone season, which is one of the zones that we hunt, until January 7th. So we get about a week more of duck hunting there. So I've got some groups to sell, which if you wanted me to plug something, we have openings in early January in Kansas. So
You have an opening.
Oh, shit.
yeah, we've got some openings in
And
early
it's not in
January
between your
Kansas.
legs.
Correct.
Wow.
We can work on that though. But anyway, so we'll be down there, and then we have that late January split, and then we've got early to mid February dark goose season down there, which is Canada Specs and Snows. So I'll guide pretty much all of that, and then that's kind of pretty much the beginning to the end to my personal guide season. This year I have tried. I'm trying to step back a little bit, just piece from like the actual in the field guiding part of it, because
You got 5 kids.
Well, I've got 5 kids and the business is growing. And in order for the business to continue to grow, it has to have as much of my attention as I can give it. And if I'm guiding, you know,
you're not doing the business
5,
stuff.
6 days. I come back and I'm so overwhelmed because I have got, you know, like I will come back from weekends and I have got 200 emails to go through. And so, and some of it's, you know, clients wanting to book, and some of it's just random questions from current customers that are coming up. And sometimes it's a guy forgot his vest on the last hunt that he was on, but all of that stuff has to get dealt with. And, you know, also for us to kind of evolve and kind of continue to do some more, you know, we want to do more. I don't want to ever get to a point where there's like, well, there's nothing else that we can do. So, you know, that just takes thought and it takes time, and we're going to start
planning
deer hunts in Kansas, and that's a lottery system. So, and that's in April. So I have to start, you know, coaching clients on how to, you know, draw and go through that whole process. And I've got to teach myself that process. So, I'm just trying to be better at, you know, I feel sometimes guilty, like, you know, I got to be in the field because my guides are in the field and I want to lead from out front. But what I've learned is like, I can be a better leader. Like I'm still always there for them. I'm still always available to them, but I have to be able to step back to be able to do some of that other stuff so that we can continue stepping forward.
Yes. So
It's
that you
thankless.
can pay them more
Yes.
some point in the day.
Right. Correct.
Yeah.
It's a thankless job, right?
Yep.
That nobody sees all the behind the scenes crap that
Yes.
has to get done.
Yep.
But it makes it a successful season for them too.
Correct.
AKA Cal and Carter.
Yeah.
Bingo.
There you go. Hey, write that down.
I will.
Yeah.
We can make that happen.
Hey, great job, Carter. You're killing it.
Thanks.
Carter is killing it.
Yeah.
But, you know, at the end of the day, and it's true, you know, I think that's why you see so many people like, you know, I just saw something on Facebook the other day that, you know, it's like, oh gosh, somebody just, you know, just put their first duck they ever shot on Facebook. And, you know, today they're a hunting guide.
I saw all those going around.
Yeah. So, you know, there's truth to that to a point, but I think that's why you see, you know, I've had so many people underneath me that started with me that are now out that have tried to do their own thing and, typically unsuccessfully. You know, what they look at it as, you know, these, you know, the guides come in and it's just like with you guys, I'm sure it's like, well, there's all this money coming in and there's this and this and this, and I'm, you know, I'm getting this. And, you know, it's like, well, if I was doing this today, then I would be coming away with this. And it's like, okay, yeah, that's true. If you did all the other shit that I do all off season long and every day that I'm not only like I'm doing while I'm guiding, while I'm in the field with you and, you know, doing all these other things, you know, so they think, well, if I was there, I would be making all this additional money. It's like, well, yeah, if it was your company, you would. What they also don't realize is that you don't make any money when you're not guiding, and you don't make any money in May, in June, in July, and August. And oh, by the way, you have to have marketing because if you don't have customers, you just have a hobby, not an actual business. So
There's just a lot of behind the scenes stuff.
just a lot. Yeah. It's not just like for you guys, it's not just about swinging a hammer, right? It's,
Right.
you know, that is, you know, at the end of the day for us, like for me, from a guide standpoint, like the actual time in the field is about like 10% of my job, you know,
Right.
It's the 90%.
Honestly, the easy part. You know?
Honestly, it is.
My boss always says that too. Like the easiest days I have are the days where I just get to swing a hammer and put my bags on.
Yep.
You know, I'm sure it's the same thing. You know, if you could make the same amount of money and just roof and not screw your body up, you'd probably do it.
Yeah. No, like today I threw on my pouch for like an hour and a half.
Just to clear your head.
I needed it.
Yep.
I needed to just not have my phone on me and just like bullshit with Mexicans and just
yeah.
up on pump jacks, just
Yeah.
swinging a hammer. Dude,
And-
it felt so good.
Yeah.
It's got to be the same thing for you, where you're like, you probably just want to go out and
Yeah.
guide hunts. It's
I do.
probably like if like you just do that, you
Yeah.
know. But it's the other stuff is what makes it
Yeah.
possible to go out and guide hunts.
Yeah. And I would love to be able to just not call people back or email people back or answer my phone or
Yeah,
do
just
any
have
of those.
and just have full books.
Right.
Yeah,
that
be
would
great.
That'd be great. But you know, that is a part of it. And that's how we get to the point where we're at. But it is, you know, I have to be careful sometimes, like, cause when I am at home with my kids, like I'm just expecting there to be something on my phone. I'm just constantly looking at it because there's an email or a text or a Instagram message that came in or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I'm just assuming there is going to be something there waiting for me that I have to deal with every time I flip my phone, screen side up.
100%.
Yeah.
Totally get that.
Yeah.
So do you get to chill in like April?
Yeah. So April.
We're still kind of doing snows.
We're still doing snows into early
Do you go
April.
do that though?
I haven't the last couple of years. I probably will this year. I
Okay.
was kind of mean to, but I just never ends up working out. And this year I'm going to try to get out with the guys in both Kansas and South Dakota for a little bit. Not necessarily even to guide, just kind of be there and cook meals for them and do that kind of stuff. Which that's the stuff that I really like. I really love gathering the guides together after a hunt and cooking for them and, letting them come home, back to the guides' quarters or wherever we're at. And they've got a home cooked meal and, 30 bags of Doritos and 10 cases of Busch Light and Copenhagen. And then they're happy,
That shit makes
their happy
a
place.
difference.
Big difference.
Yeah, I remember one time I was doing a dude's house and I quoted him like $3,000 to do a repair. It was a big repair.
Yeah.
And I was by myself. I was supposed to have 2 guys helping me. It didn't help. So the first 2 days, it should have taken me 2 days. It took me 4 because I had no one helping me. And at the end of the second day, he's like, man, weren't you supposed to have help? I was like, yeah, but, no one shows up on time. This generation sucks. Blah, blah, blah. No one has a work ethic anymore. And on the third day, he gave me an extra $400 and 2 cases of beer. And I didn't care about the money.
Yeah.
The fact that he gave me beer, I was just like, oh, you were so awesome.
Yeah.
I'm going to drink this right here in your driveway right now.
Yeah.
It makes a huge difference, man.
Yeah.
Well, I think it's just, them seeing you give a shit about them.
Yeah, for sure.
That's really what it is.
For sure. But then to go back to your question, so I'll coach. We have 4 boys and a girl. So in the summer, this year I coach my son's travel baseball team. So I'm coaching that. That'll be like May, June into July. I'll coach that, and then it's pretty much ready to get right back into guiding again right after that. But then the last 2 years, because of how things are going, I've been able to coach my boys' football team in the fall as well. So, that kind of stuff is nice and is rewarding because as the company grows and we have a good, stable, guide base, I can be away a little bit more so I can, manage the business, but then also spend 2 hours a night coaching my boys in football.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
We really appreciate it. Carter, can we get some outros? Thank you. All right. Did you get this last time?
I think so.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's
I
good.
love this shit, dude.
I was told I'd get the platinum package when I came back.
You-
this
yeah,
time.
you-
And
yeah,
this
you're
is part of the
getting it. Yeah,
platinum.
no, for sure.
So far you've gotten the gold package. The platinum comes after the podcast.
Oh,
That's,
sure. Gotcha.
Yeah, we finish it off.
Great.
We'd have to put it on a different site,
Yeah, I don't know why they call them roofies.
How did I get back home?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on. Hey, guys, if you have the opportunity, January, what are your dates that are open?
It's like January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th.
Okay. So call Graham up. Go on his website, maxoutguides.com.
Correct.
Okay. Check that out. Book a hunt.
Geese
You
fear
won't-
them.
Yeah.
Geese fear them.
And he
True
is. He's kind of the corn king.
Yeah.
So, king of the corn. Thanks for coming on, man. We appreciate it. Check out other channels, guys. Leave a review. We'll see you soon.
Hey, Graham, one more thing.
Yeah.